weekend, one day before the weekend. Thank God it's Fridays tomorrow, but today is, thank God, it's Thursday. Actually, Throwback Thursday, but I don't have any throwback for you today. We're going straight to very serious matters. We'll start with INEC and the appeal court. But before we go there, my name is Emmanuel Ojadigele. Welcome to the show Spring Trends on Western Spring Television. Of course, Morning Spring is what you've just been watching. We're bringing you what is happening, who is trending, what is trending, why they are trending, and what people are saying about the who, the what, and the why. Now, we'll start with INEC in Osun State. If you remember, on the 27th of January 2023, the Osun State Election Petition Tribunal delivered judgment. In a majority 2-1 judgment, they sacked Governor Ademola Adeleke and adjudged Governor former Governor Adegboyega Oyetola as winner of the July 16th, 2022 governorship elections. Now, because INEC was the first respondent in that particular suit, that petition filed by the APC and former Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, INEC has now decided to appeal the judgment of the tribunal. And if you can see on your screen the document there, INEC appealing on 44 grounds, actually. You see the notice of appeal written to the Court of Appeal, the Akure Judicial Division, holding at Akure between INEC, that's the Independent National Electoral Commission, the appellant, and Adegboyega Isiaka Oyetola, All Progressives Congress, APC, Ademola Adeleke, Nuruddin Jackson, respondent, and People's Democratic Party, PDP. On the next slide, you have the grounds of the appeal. There's ground one is the error in law, saying that the tribunal erred in law when they failed to consider and rule on the various preliminary objections filed by the first respondent, challenging the competency of the petition and jurisdiction of the Election Petition Tribunal to hear the petition, but proceeded to determine the merit of the petition. Ground two is also error in law. And of course, you see ground three, also another error in law. Looking at the signature of the chief magistrate, the third person on the tribunal. The tribunal has three persons, Justice Tetsi Kume, Justice B.A. Ogbuli, and of course, the chief magistrate, Rabi Bashir. And then that is also a part of the argument by INEC on that 44 ground appeal written to the Court of Appeal in Akure. Now let's see how people have responded on social media. We'll begin with Twitter. Neo there says, INEC's appeal against Osun Tribunal judgment is a step to serve conscience. One will expect them to do a diligent job at the appeal to convince people that Beaver's machine can be trusted. And Premier Sadiq Tade says, it is now important for the public to know that INEC has appealed to tribunal judgment in Osun State. The APC in and out of the state have been circulating propaganda in the last few days about the appeal. Please ignore them. Ademola Adeleke / INEC appealed the case already. Now, Valiant Samson Idowalaba says, the appeal filed by INEC against the judgment of the Osun State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal today and the relief source showing, this. I'm not a lawyer, but with what I know, unless on technicalities, this appeal would be summarily dismissed within the next 5 weeks. That's this person's opinion. Wale Adebayo says, the summary of the appeal case filed by INEC against the Osun Tribunal judgment is that they accept there was overvoting, but want to challenge the technicality of the tribunal judge's constitution. Watery, if you ask me. And Michael Zucchi says, the Buga judgment of Osun Tribunal has been appealed by INEC. Appeal court, over to you. We move over to Facebook, where Chris Oyedinachi is our first commentator, says, this is because it's a heavy indictment on their integrity as an umpire in the forthcoming election, as losers to these coming elections can reference their fault on this Osun Election Tribunal judgment in court, and there could be a jamboree of electoral lawsuits in court. Queenfield says, for Supreme Court to declare Senate President a winner in an election he did not contest, I just give up for this country. APC as a party needs to rest because the damages is really getting out of hand. Chukwebukai Jema says, this is the INEC we want. Taxpayers' money was spent on those elections, and 7-man panel will sit together and decide the fate of the people after elections. Who does that? Well, the Osun State Tribunal had 3 people, 2 men and 1 woman. Akim Ashenuga says, dead on arrival. It is damage control on the part of INEC, an institution giving 2 different results in an election. Anyway, let them have their days in court. And Samuel Onyitex Okoro says, if the judges that have happened to be working for APC succeed in removing Adeleke, then all hope on INEC in conducting free and fair election this month will be lost. because a highly glorified beavers was used in the Osun election. Well, that's the last comment on that story. Let me quickly remind you that part of the thing said by the Osun Tribunal was that INEC's action amounts to tampering with official document, and by issuing two different results or two beavers reports, they accused INEC of having manipulated some documents. From INEC, although still in court, to move over to the Supreme Court. Yesterday, the Supreme Court gave judgment, gave a ruling, not a judgment now, a ruling in the suit filed by state government against the federal government as regards the deadline for the Naira cash swap policy. You know, the original deadline was supposed to elapse tomorrow, 10th of February 2023, but the Supreme Court in a ruling yesterday halted it. It did not scrap it, it just put a pin in it and said on the 15th of this month we'll reconvene and give our ruling, our judgment on that issue. So you can see there on your screen, that story was broken by Channels Television yesterday. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has restrained the federal government from implementing the February 10 deadline of the old 200 Naira, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes to stop being legal tender. Of course, we take responses to that. Okemute Kogene is the first. It says, all these things now just politics at play. No one actually has the Nigerian people at the heart of their decisions, from the president to CBN to the governors, banks, and the Supreme Court. Every decision taken is just political. None of them really care about us. They gives you that Michael Jackson song, they don't really want to care about us. Adekunle says, power play. Tinubu has the judiciary in his pockets. Buhari using his executive power. We shall see. A battle of the pocket he has there. Why not says, Tinubu supporters are rejoicing because they know Tinubu can only win through buying votes. That says a whole lot. But I want to believe Nigerians are wiser than accepting peanuts to vote for Tinubu. Are Nigerians really wiser? Do they know better than accepting peanuts to vote for any candidate at all? That's a very big question. Ghetto Son says the suspension will only be effective on paper because as far as I know, except of course the politicians start releasing the old currencies audit, the banks would allow them into circulation again, which leads us to continuation of the money crisis. And that's true. Almost all of the old notes have been mocked up. So what money will we be spending? Where will we get cash from? The new cash is not even in circulation. The old notes have been taken back to the CBN vault. So will the CBN release old notes into circulation? Will they print more new notes? We don't know. Yenny says, funny, does any politician or government appointee obey court order? Who obeys the rule of law? Abi, which judge passed this one? People that collect bribe to prevent justice? I beg, they should shift. And then we'll move over to Facebook. Now on Facebook, the Punch newspapers reported that yesterday after that ruling, there was a protest in Abuja. Some youths protested the ex-party order of the Supreme Court temporarily halting the move by the federal government to ban the use of the old Naira notes beyond February. The protesters converged on the headquarters of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, passed a vote of confidence in the CBN, urging them not to back down. You begin to ask, what exactly do Nigerians want? What do we want in this country? Do you want them to continue with the deadline? Do you want the hardship to continue? Very big question. Now, Jimmy Stitchy says, so after dragging line for 3 hours on ATM today, it reached my turn. I discovered my PVC I carry instead of ATM card. Our thoughts and prayers are with Sister Jimmy. We hope that she is able to get money. Obamufimuyiwa Kusimo says, the Supreme Court ruling detailed temporarily halting the deadline so as to accommodate a gradual phasing out of the old note is a relief and must be commended by any reasonable Nigerian. The fire brigade approach smack of a decision from a biased and an unintelligent economist. Is this my Murphy baby you're talking about? How dare you speak to Murphy like this? We need to find this man. Oluwadrotimi Oluwatosin Odunaye says our arranged and imposed incoming president by his ambition, but and his cohorts are appearing to be caring to the masses in maximum deceit for their selfish interest. While truly the judgment by the Supreme Court appears relieving, it is on the long run of sole benefit for the APC and corrupt politicians across board. Yet, with great determination and follow-up of the well-wishes of Nigeria, the table may still turn against them. If they use their PVCs decisively, this is APC kicking against APC. Confusion in their camp. King Benny says, criminal collaborators. Corruption will fight back, but will come out victorious surely. Where was Supreme Court when the APC injected billions of naira into currency change? Is the money a waste now? Why being reactive rather than being proactive? APC, party of forward and backward. To think this is a party where more than 100 people easily purchased presidential form for 100 million naira will leave you speechless. speechless like Michael Jackson. But that's where we end that story for today. We now move over to, we're still in the court, but we'll move over to Kogi State. Remember that last year we told you that there was some crisis in Kogi State because the nephew of the governor was arraigned for billions of naira fraud. It was alleged to have withdrawn money from the state government coffers. And you begin to wonder, how is someone who is not the governor or who is not the accountant general, is not the deputy governor, have access to withdraw money from the state coffers? Very, very interesting. And the FCC and the Kogi State government have been going back and forth over that issue and trying to see who is right and who can get the better of the other. Well, yesterday, EFCC announced, right there on your screen, the FCC announced that they are arraigning, or that they have arraigned the nephew of Governor Yahaya Bello for 3 billion naira fraud, and he's been remanded in prison. You can see the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Wednesday, that's yesterday, arraigned one Ali Bello, a nephew of Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, before Justice Obiora Egwatu of a federal high court in Abuja. Bello was docked alongside Abba Adauda, Yakubu Siyaka, Ada Benege, Iyada Sadat, that's on the next page, Rashida Bello. Rashida Bello is the wife of the governor of Kogi State, so she's also part of those who were arraigned. She's also part of those who were joined on the 18-count charge bordering on criminal misappropriation and money laundering to the tune of 3,081,804,654 naira. Nigerians don't have money, but look at what people are doing with the commonwealth, the patrimony of Kogi State. We start with Natasha Akpoti as our first respondent this morning. Natasha is a politician too in Kogi State. If you remember her, she says, official EFCC, you are doing well. Take cola and carry on. The good people of Kogi State are with you. Keziah Idodo says, he put hand for pocket. Be like Yahaya Bello, don't call him to relax. And Danny Balan Bashim says, so how much would the main Oga have thieved? Very, very interesting question. McCann is talking to the FCC. He says, these days, one would think these guys go to your office for photo shoots, judging from the smile they wear. I've also always wondered, why do people who are arrested, when they want to take their mug shot, why do they always smile? Is it that they are happy to have been caught? Or there's some intrigues playing? We don't know. Ayi Lori one says, EFCC, una see una life, una arrest person is still the smile, take mug shot, because they probably believe nothing will happen. Being probed for 3 billion naira and still have the nerves to be smiling. I mean, 3 billion naira, that's 3,000 million, if you want to put it like that. Anyway, Speak It Forth says, at official GYB Kogi is very corrupt. This is why he's trying to fight our President Buhari's /CBN monetary policy. Pablo says 3 billion, and they still look this hungry and malnourished. Kuku put them inside CBN vote at once now. Buzel says the game has just begun. Pikin will say, Mama no go sleep, him too no go sleep. Well, LP Field Code says federal government has fired back. I have what belongs to you. You better fall in line kind of situation. Chinedu Ezeazo says this is turning to be the most interesting election in Nigeria's history. And Solomon says, good. All looted public funds must be returned. Buhari is probably fighting back for the Kangaroo Supreme Court judgment. But that's that. Before we go this morning, we'd like to seek your what's it called now? Your counsel. There's a problem in Lagos, and there's a letter that I want to put up on your screen right there. A man in Lagos wrote and said that his wife. This is a question actually. Mature Minds, a matter of Lagos says, your husband and your brother are applying for a contract worth over 100 million naira in your company, but you can only sign for one person. Who are you signing for? That's a very, very dicey situation there. Your husband or your brother. Now let's take the comments. We'll begin with Moin Fabumi. Moin Fabumi says 9 out of 10 women will give the job to their brother. The assumption is that elevating the husband means he will eventually cheat. The modern woman rarely commits to her husband. A sad reality. You all can deny it all you want, but the stats are there. And Omotayo says 9 over 10. How did you come to this conclusion? Talk to V. Talk to V is the next person. Talk to V is the next person. She says, my husband, when he gets it, I'm sure he will give my brother a cut. In the eyes of God, we are one. I can vouch for him because he has been selfless towards my family from day one. My kids and I will reap the benefits. My bro can give some, but his needs will come first before mine. And then Tayo says, very insightful. Kobi Dada says, my whole truth depends on who and what my husband is. But as a man that he is today, I will give him. My brothers are understanding that I need to choose my family first. I can always settle them when dividends comes in our capacity. Ejiga comes next. Ejiga is our next commentator on this story. And he says, it should be a simple decision to make if she removed emotions. She should give it to the person with most competence in carrying out that job. She must also be able to trust him to deliver and make her own share to her as agreed without stories. CFC Peter Obi says, wife would give the contract to husband because unlike brother, who would think first of his immediate family first, a husband would consider her and her children first before elevating a said brother, which he would definitely do if the love is right. Paul says, in a normal sense, he's supposed to be the husband. But if the husband is not a person of good character, or the wife doesn't enjoy her man or the marriage, or more, she will give it to the brother without thinking twice. So character and personality would define this type of decision. And I actually agree that this is one of the wisest comments. You have to look at who can handle the money, who has shown ability to handle such issues in the past. AFC Gidi says, if as my wife you give your brother this contract without looking for a way to balance it out, I would never in this life give my 100% to you anymore. And once I can't give you my all, the inevitable is eventually going to happen. Ada Mbise says, your husband can get it and fashi you. Your brother too can get it and fashi you. Any of them can get it and you'll be positively impacted. For me, it's about the personality of each of them, not their relationship. To me, love is not infallible and blood is not infallible too. Don Pablo says, any sane woman will give this to her husband, our own direct family. The brother will spend it on his own direct family. The one argument against this is if they had issues of some sort, or if the husband isn't transparent with money or that stuff. And Fernandez says, I'm a guy, and I'm saying this with my full chest, that if my sister happens to be between one of my sister's husband and me, I will tell my sister to pick our husband because her family, her kids, and her husband should come first. Well, that's where we end the show this morning. That's where we'll put it all. Let us know what you think. Go straight to our Facebook and Instagram at Western Spring Television. You can also tag us on Twitter at WSTV_NG. Tell us what you think about this. If you were to give a contract of over 100 million naira to someone between your husband and your brother, who would you give it to? Let's see whose decision would be right or who you would sign for. But my name is Emmanuel Ojadigele. Like I said, tomorrow is, thank God, it's Friday. But because I don't have money and because right now I don't have access to cash and a lot of things are going wrong, I will show you what I'll be eating after this show. If you care, you can join me. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Ìlọ́mọ o, ẹ̀yìn ewu mi lọ́mọ o.